Before we start, just understand this is not a signal service. Everything you see here is for educational purposes only. Trading involves risk, and the goal here is not to follow trades, it's to learn the process behind them.
Good morning, and welcome to I'm the Trader Capital live trading for law. It is Friday, June 5th. It's NFP Friday. First and foremost, though, all glory to the Most High God. Let's bow our heads for a quick prayer. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for your grace and your mercy. We thank you for another opportunity to try again to learn and grow in these markets. Father, we ask that your will be done today as it is in heaven. Father, we ask that you give us the heart of a giver and make us a lover of our neighbor. Please let me not lead anyone that listens to me astray, but use me as a vessel to bring your children back onto you. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen. Can the church say amen? Amen. Let's begin. Before we jump into the charts, I just want to say this. There was a time I used to sit down on the charts with no real plan, jumping between strategies, losing, blowing accounts, second guessing every entry, and honestly just hoping that the trade would work. And that's where most traders are today, not because they're not capable, but because they don't have a structured process. The biggest pitfalls that causes traders to fail is that they have no knowledge on money, they don't know how to lose, they don't know how the markets operate, and they don't have a winning model. 90% of traders fail, all 90% are plagued with one or more of these pitfalls. Today, I'm going to show you the 3 pillars that every trader must have in their trading to survive and thrive in the financial markets, so you can join the 10% who succeed and fast track your way to the top 1% of the wealthiest people on this planet. It's called the 10% to 1% club. Let's go. Woo! But before we dive deep into the 3 core pillars, when you step into this arena, on this battlefield, you must first have 2 crucial realizations. Realization number 1, trading is war. This is not a get rich quick scheme. This is the hardest thing that you'll ever do in your life. Realization number 2, all traders are money managers. As a trader, your ability to manage money is vital to your survival in this industry and in life as we know it. Most traders think that success in the markets comes from finding the perfect strategy or catching the biggest moves. But the reality is, trading success is built on 3 core pillars. First is money and mindset. This is the foundation of success. Then is risk management. This is the holy grail of trading. This is what will keep you in the game long after everybody else has quit. And lastly, we have trading edge. This is where all traders start. I know this because this is where I started. That's why in today's session, we're going to hone in on your trading edge. Now, everything that we do here is built around one thing, and that is confidence in your trading edge. And at I'm the Trader Capital, our confidence comes from 3 things. First, it comes from understanding how the market actually operates. Not what social media says, but how money truly moves. Second is having one trader model. One model with IPDA signatures that we trust and execute on a consistent basis. Third is having a plan and a process, because without a plan and a process, you're just reacting to price and you're winging it each and every time. And this right here, this session, this is where we focus on the 3rd piece, the process. So many people lose confidence in trading and in life because they simply don't have a plan. There's no process they're following. There's no procedures and protocols that they're abiding by. They literally are just winging it. And they wonder why they can't get consistent. They wonder why there's ups and downs in their equity curves. They literally can't figure it out. The uncertainty of not knowing exactly what you're doing, how you're doing it, why and when you're doing it in the market will cause you to fail in trading. Confidence and certainty are key if you want to be successful in trading, and it's your responsibility as the trader, as the analyst, as the fund manager. It's your responsibility to attain that confidence, not only in your model, but also in your processes. So what I want to do right now real quickly is I want to share with you the process that we teach all our analysts at I'm the Trader Capital, and then we'll see that process live in action. This is the 3-step trading process. Step 1, condition. This is where we determine our bias. Before we even think about entering a trade, we need to know the market program. Are we in a buy program or sell program? This is where the market shows its hand. Then we have step 2, stage. This is what sets up your trade and what does your trade look like. There are 2 types of trades, retracement setups and continuation setup. Then we have step 3, execution. This is how you're going to enter, manage, and close the trade. At the Trader Capital, we have 4 entry criteria before executing. I'm not here to force trades. I'm here to execute my plan step by step in real time. All right, let's get into the live trading flow. Now, as you're watching, don't just look for entries. Pay attention to the process behind the entries, because this is what will get you into the 10% of traders who succeed. And if you want to go further to the 1%, well, that's where we break down all 3 pillars inside of the program. I used to think that winning trades built confidence, but it's not the wins. It's knowing exactly what you're doing, when you're doing it, how you're doing it, and why you're doing it before, during, and after each trade. And that is what we're building here. Let's begin with our daily trading processes. Weekly target going to this week, as always, is 3%. All right, mental check-in. Feeling generally okay. I'm in better spirits today. All right, than I was yesterday. Okay, I'm just taking it one day at a time. Feeling good today. All right, feeling good. It's Friday, NFP Friday at that. All right, I'm excited to see what price action has in store for us today. In the thick of the wild west. All right, excited to continue to grow. All right, and get 1% better. Closing another week here at the Trader Capital of just growth and just learning and just becoming a better trader, a better analyst, and a better individual overall. So yeah, excited to dig into today. All right, I accept any risk that comes with trading today. I understand that trading comes with real risk and that losing is part of the battle. I have a real fear of this mic not being on now, so I always have to take a look to see if the lights are on and shining, that I'm being heard. Because the other day I was talking to myself for a minute. News, like I said, it's Friday, June 5th. All right, we have NFP come out at 8:30. That was pretty much the only news for today. All right, so we have news today, making an optimal day to take a trade. Risk going into today, we're at 0.25 of account size, and we have a max of 0.75 per account per day. Weekly program going to this week initially was a buy program, but as we saw yesterday, all right, it flipped from buys to sell. So let's go ahead and review price action overnight, all right, to see if anything's happened to change that weekly program for us here at the Trader Capital. All right, so let's dive in. Ooh, I'm about to dive in. All right, okay, so for us, for our weekly program to flip now, right, price will need to come all the way back up here and take buy side over here. So we're still in a sell program. Okay, we initially started the week in the buy program, but as you can see, we came down. All right, and we took Monday's range sell side, all right, which changed our bias. All right, we had the retrace to reverse scenario on the higher time frame here on the 4 hour, all right, which changed our bias, all right, from buys to sell program. Okay, and price retraced back into premium, all right, and tanked again. This beautiful price action right here, boy. Woo, very nice, very nice. Right, I want to see if we get a closure below this 4 hour inefficiency, and then price will potentially use it as an inversion for a value gap, all right, to continue lower into this daily inefficiency with buy side right in front of consequent encroachment of this daily inefficiency. So that's my current draw right now on the higher time frame. All right, buy side here into consequent encroachment of this daily inefficiency. So let's see how that goes. We need to adjust the lows here on 20-day range. This is currently the low. Let's get previous day's range up in here. All right, so if you're using previous day's range as your step 1 condition to determine your condition, right, in terms of your bias, right, for the day, right, we've taken previous day's low. All right, so you'd be coming into today in a sell program, which is currently in line with the weekly program. Okay, so everything will be in alignment for a sell. All right, so you'll be looking to be a seller of this market here. If you were using previous day's range as to determine your condition, all right, your bias as your step 1, right, as your step 1. It's Friday. day. You know what that means? It's Money and Mindset Friday. Yeah. Get your money right. All right. So you go into the weekend knowing what to do with that money that you just got paid. I know some of you just got paid. I know some of you just got paid. It's a blessing. Because that's step one in creating wealth, right? Generating income, creating income, all right? And if you have a 9 to 5, you have a job, right? You're already on step one, right? What you need to do, right, is get to step two, right? And follow the steps. Follow the steps. The 4 steps to build wealth. Yesterday was a really good price action day, all right? And it was indicative of the open range gap, okay? It was a big, we actually left a portion of it open here yesterday. It was a big open range gap, right? And price action yesterday was it was spectacular. Like not every, I wouldn't say every macro, but like from 950 macro to 1050, 1150, 1250, 150 to 250 macro, because I don't think 350 really gave us anything clean. Right, to 250 macro, you just setup after setup after setup after setup after setup. I wasn't in any of those, all right, because I'm just like, I'm taking up after Wednesday. I'm just taking a pause, right? I'm being content with my one winning trade for the day and just sitting back and watching the candlesticks do as they do. But yesterday was very nice price action. I was really like, oh, okay, all right, I see you. So just another data collected for like having a decent size open range gap, right? Is indicative of the kind of price actions that you're going to see in price, right? It's not 100%, obviously. Nothing is 100%. But the only trade I took was the one you saw yesterday, really and truly. So anyway, as we proceed to give you what you need, right? Which is step one, condition, determine bias. In order for me to do that, for how I do that here, right? For me personally, right? Like I said, you can use previous days range as your step one, right? But for me, I use the price action from the current day to determine my daily bias, all right, my daily condition. And for session, I use open range, dealing range to determine my session bias, all right. So go from 12 a.m. to current price action. It's time based, all right, just like IPTA, all right. IPTA runs on time, so everything that I do revolves around time. Everything is time based. Even my liquidity is time based liquidity, okay? It's session liquidity, it's daily liquidity, it's weekly liquidity, all right? It's monthly liquidity, right? So everything is time based that we do here because that's what IPTA runs on, all right? She runs on time. Happy Friday! Happy Friday, y'all! It's Money Making Friday, all right? Money and Mindset Friday. But anyway, 12 a.m. to current price action. We note the lowest low to highest high. Just like that. We got our dealing range for the day. Easy, simple, right? Nothing complicated about this. Don't complicate it, all right? It's already hard enough, right? We don't need to complicate it for ourselves. All right, so now we just wait for one side of that dealing range to get taken, all right? And then that will establish our condition, all right? So if buy sides gets taken, we'll be in the buy program. We're looking to be a buyer. Doesn't mean we can't sell, right? We understand that. Obviously, if we sell, you're going against the daily program, all right? It'll be a retracement set up to then catch the continuation. We always anticipate that price is going to go in the direction of the side that it took, okay? Obviously, and then if sell side is taken, we'll be in a sell program, which will be in line with our weekly program, right? Because right now our weekly program is a sell program, okay? Not that we need to be in line with it, okay? We don't have to be in line with the weekly because we are day traders, okay? We don't really need to be in line. Just be aware that, hey, you are going against the weekly. Ding, 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 ding. Oh, hold on. Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. We're kicking off. All right, so no, it was right. Oh my goodness. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? All right, look at that open range gap, right? Price action today is going to be good on this NFP Friday. NFP, this was NFP, the reaction of NFP. Not much really, just that 1 wick candle here. Anyway, open range gap, it's above price, okay? It's a big ass open range gap. We like that. I like those kind of open range gap. Look at that fat ass open range gap. Getting me excited for this Friday morning. Woo! Is above price, okay? So we gap down, all right? And as you can see, we're smashing dealing range sell side, okay? So our condition has been established. We have step 1 already. All right, we're in a sell program going into today, which is in line with our weekly program, okay? It's in line with our weekly program. Let me make sure I'm on the, oh no, if it's gonna be a 30 trade, it needs to be this account. So let's see. So we're looking to be a seller of this market. Doesn't mean we can't buy, all right? Doesn't mean we can't buy. We just have to understand that if we're buying as a retracement setup, we're going against our daily program, all right? Just be aware. Appreciate it. Hunter gatherers. We are hunter gatherers, all right? Okay, all right, hold on. So far, 15 seconds giving us a V-shape retracement setup here. I'm watching that. I'm waiting till after this week to engage in the 15 seconds as its own thing, okay? I'm waiting till after this week. I'm gonna backtest this week, go back into a little bit of price action and build more confidence, collect more data, all right, to see if it's worthwhile, right? If it's worthwhile. But this week has really just it's really stuck out to me, the 15-second time frame, and the setups are forming on it. So we're watching this V-shape retracement setup here on the 15-second. Using first presented fair value gap, so I like that. Let's see. Would have given us bread and butter already here. Would have given us bread and butter. Let's see contract size wise what it's saying. But from what I noticed yesterday, I like liquidity setups with the 15 seconds. Okay, if I'm gonna do V shape, all right, that would be something I'll obviously need to collect data on. Oh, it's only 2 contracts, so it'll be all coming off at -1. So let's see if it gives it to us. Let me not sync this because I just want to watch it on the 15-second time frame. I didn't know any liquidities above and below. Da 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 da. It's Friday. We in better spirits today than we were yesterday. All right. Most definitely. Like I said, it comes in waves, right? Some days are good, some days are not, right? It is what it is. That's just life. All right, below dealer range. Okay, we got sell side, AM session sell side from Thursday, May 28th. Still in play. And then below that, okay, we have that would be open range session. We also have this sell side down here too. Would that be open range? We still do have that opening range. I mean, dealing range from Thursday. Anyway, we got some sell sides below there. Testing V shape. on the 15 seconds seems to be, well, so far so nothing too well. I would be worried because we closed below first percent of fair value gap, came back into it and closed below it again. That's warning signs right there that potentially this trade is offside here. Above dealing range, we got Asia session buy side. Couldn't even say that. It was like a tongue twister. Oh, oh, what did I do? What did I do? Wrong thing in it. And then above that, we got previous week's high and we got previous day's high. What is my 20-day? Oh, okay. Q. And that's all we got above price. Okay, would be getting taken out this. All right, so V shapes for 15 seconds. We put a pause on that for now. We put a pause on that. Okay, but hold on now. Let's put a pause on V shape on a 15 seconds, especially on a 30. If it was a macro time frame, different story, especially on a 30. Yeah, I'm not messing with that right now. I'm not messing with that right now. Now, market structure shift back above here. I'll be paying attention to this. We'll be watching this right here as a retracement set up on the 15-second time frame. It's NFP Friday. It's Money and Mindset Friday. It's TGIF Friday. We love Friday all together, don't we? We love it. I think as human beings, Fridays is like one of the best days of the week, isn't it? We just love a good Friday. Let's pop this up on the screen. That won't be what we'll be talking about today, though. For now, this is buy side. I'll need to see gold to be interested in the 15 seconds. What's the high of this? Please don't be lagging today. 19 to 5, 18. Yep, no, there's no high there. You have sell side below price, okay? There's a draw on liquidity right now. Right now for the 1 minute, right, for retracement setup, it will have to come and cause a market structure shift back above here. But 15 seconds, this is the high I need to see go. So I'll be watching it. I won't be engaging. It will just be something we're watching. This is what I was doing. No, that's not what I need, bro. Sorry. Bear with me. bear with me. I'm losing things. I'm doing things I shouldn't be doing. Yikes. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. You see that? You see that? It's on there? It's on. Oh, we can't see the bottom part now. Technically, on the 15 seconds here, if we're gonna be technical, we opened, traded down to external liquidity. We went back above it. We took buy side above it here. Took buy side above it here. Okay. Drop down, market structure shift back below it. Okay, so this would be a continuation setup on the 15 seconds there. That would be a continuation, a clean as day on the 15 seconds. Boom. With liquidity, right? So I would be interested here. Let's no sync it. It would have given you bread and butter already. All right, in line with all the programs, right? We're looking to be a seller. How can we be a seller of this market? This was it right here. We had a continuation sell on the 15-second time frame with liquidity. Okay, because remember, continuation can either come back up into inefficiency and or liquidity. But obviously for the 15 seconds, we want to see liquidity, right? Cool. I'm watching. I see you. Don't worry, I see you. I was doing something here. Yep, this is what I was doing. If it's gone without me, right? Nothing wrong with that. We didn't catch it in time. I didn't realize it as it was happening. Mama. 1, 2, 3. It's like the same as I do in the other one, right? Give it 3 minutes. Ding, ding, dingy, ding, ding. Let's see how many contracts this would have allowed us in here anyway. It's not gonna. It's probably gonna be one. Yeah, one contract. One contract, Larry. For -1, is under 1-to-1 for the risk to reward folks. Da 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 da. I'm enjoying this 15-second. I think now I'm approaching that time frame with the proper mindset and the proper way, right? Because before I wasn't even like set in terms of what I'm looking for. It was a lot of lines, a lot of like setups forming. It was just too much right now. Seeing just too many forced setup on the 15 seconds. Now that we have like a structured approach to what we're looking for, and you know, our key levels aren't so many, right? It's not that many key levels. I think is much better now. It's more refined. Obviously, we're still gonna get false setups regardless, all right? Because it's a lower time frame. It's 15 seconds for crying out loud. It's the seconds time frame. But yeah, now I'm getting a better read back. I'm getting better data back from this time frame. Okay, so we're rebuilding our relationship. Me and the 15 seconds. We're starting off on the right foot this time, and I like it. I like it. I like it. Because when the 1 minute doesn't give me a setup, the 15 seconds most definitely gives me an opportunity to jump on the train there. So I like it. And this week has really like is really like hit me like a ton of bricks. The 15-second setups is really like just made itself more apparent to me. Like I'm seeing it clear as day on the charts. And that's just a testament of showing up each and every day, right? Seeking to be 1% better, right? Just paying attention to these candlesticks, just watching them print. And obviously, I haven't been taking any trades on the 15 seconds. It's been a time frame I've been just using as a supporting actress to my 1 minute. So I just been watching it and just paying attention to what it's got going on. And now is my eyes are just it's like it's just gravitating towards its setup. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I'm gonna make sure that this mic is on. I'm scarred. It's just a fear of mine right now. It's mighty. Anyway, still would be in here. He hasn't given us negative one yet. Money and Mindset Friday. Money and Mindset Friday. Get your money right. Get your mind on your money going into the weekend. All right, going into the weekend. Our goal here is to, once we join the 10% club, right, is how can we work our way? We're closer to the 1% at 10%, right? How can we get to that 1% club, right? And that comes with understanding money and your mindset around money, okay? If you don't know anything about money or what you need to do to join the 1% club, you're always just going to be in that 10% club, right? And there's nothing wrong with being in 10%, right? At least you're away from the 90% club, right? You're in a league of your own in the 10% club. If you want to stay there, that's on you, right? But you can still be stuck in a rat race, right? In a wheel at the 10% club, right? Is only at that 1% where money is working for you, where you're really like building wealth, creating wealth, right? Something that's indestructible, something that you cannot be destroyed, you know. Negative one here would be out this trade already here. So let's see what else is going to offer us in terms of coming down here. Oh, this standard deviation is in line with this sell side. This standard deviation is in line with this sell side. Mm-hmm. Potential draws on liquidity down here, these relative equal lows. I like that they line up with the standard deviations. 1 minute, it couldn't even come up and take buy side here. You know, that's how strong it was to the downside. Good to know, good to know, good to know. Good to know. Yeah, as I was saying, the goal here is to join the 1% club, right? Because when Black Swan events hit, the people that thrive are the people in that 1% club, right? And we want to be part of the people that thrive, all right? Because Black Swan events, they happen. That's one thing history has shown us, that there will always be an economic crisis on the horizon, okay? It's up to us to prepare and be ready for that economic crisis, okay? And it's crazy because traders, right, speculators, all right, are people that thrive during economic downturn, okay, because they understand how these candlesticks move. During economic downturn, they move the same way, right? We talked about IPDOT this week, right? She's doing the same thing regardless of what's going on outside of the financial markets, okay? So once you understand that, right, there's always going to be an ocean of money available for you to do something with, okay? But yeah, when Black Swan events hit, so right, Black Swan events are events that are catastrophic, okay? There's no warning, right? There's no, like, you don't get a warning 2 days before that, hey, something's gonna happen. It just happens and it changes the entire landscape of the world. It changes everything. And if you're not well prepared, right? If you're not in that 1% club, right, it will hit you and it will affect you. Okay, so that's why it's imperative. It's imperative, right, that once we join that 10% club of traders who succeed, right, you have to work our way to that 1%. So nothing can hurt us, right? We're always prepared. We're always on the go. It would have, we want plausible deniability here, and right now we don't have that at negative 1.5. Anyway, we're talking money and mindset. I'm not sure if it would have took us out here. What's the low of this candle? It is exactly where we would want it to be, actually. So I don't think it would have took us out, to be honest. We are talking money and mindset today, right? How do we join the 1% club? Oh, let's pick a topic. Money exercise isn't done. $1 billion principles isn't done. Talked about Grace Wealth Building Tool last week. Yeah, let's dive into the wealth creation. We don't need to go through all of these every time. You know what I mean? Today we're going to pick a topic and we're going to stick with that topic in its own wealth creation, equation and formula. Wealth creation, equation and formula, all right? That's what we're going to talk about today. Yeah. There are only two things we need to know about money, right? We're going to talk about one of those things today, all right? And that's the three hows, how to get, keep, and multiply money, all right? When we say this, all right, obviously takes us to the wealth creation equation and formula, all right? Like I said before, back in school, math was always my favorite subject, all right? Now, I like complicated maths, all right? Complicated equations. And the reason for that was because those equations had formulas, right? They had a formula. Each mathematical equation had a formula, meaning if you knew the formula, understood the formula, input the correct data into that formula, right? It didn't matter the question, the numbers that came in that question, how the question was worded, the numbers in it. As long as you did those three things right? Knew the formula, understood the formula, and input the correct information into that formula. That's very key. Putting the correct information into that formula is key, because if you put the wrong number, you're gonna end up with the wrong answer, right? But anyway, if you did those three things, it didn't matter the question, it didn't matter the numbers, right? If you follow the formula and input the correct data, you're always going to arrive at the correct answer. Okay, it was that simple, and that's why math was one of my favorite subjects in school, because the hard equations had formulas, right? You just follow the formula, put the right information in the formula, you'll get to the right answer each and every time, right? With each and every question. And that's the same thing here when it comes to wealth creation, right? There's an equation, right? Meaning there's a formula, okay? And success leaves clues, right? Wealthy people, successful people, right? They love to talk about how they achieved, some of them love to talk about how they achieved their wealth and what they did to get to where they're at, okay? And we're not here to reinvent the wheel. We're not here to reinvent the wheel and create something new, right? Because it's already been done, right? We just need to follow there's a formula out there, right? We just need to follow the formula, understand the formula, follow the formula, and input the correct information. And that is the key, right? Getting the correct data to put into the formula, okay? Because some of us are getting wrong information, and we're putting into we have the formula, right? We understand the formula, some of us, all right? But we're putting the wrong information into that formula, and that is why we're not getting the right answer. That's why we're not achieving the outcome that we want to achieve, you know, because we're putting the wrong information, the wrong data into the right formula. It doesn't work like that, okay? It doesn't work like that. We're going to dig deeper today into the wealth creation equation, all right, and talk more about the formula. We're going to understand the formula, know the formula, all right, and know the right information, the correct data to input into that formula, all right. 10:50 kicking off. Nothing right now. We have time, but no price for me, okay? For me, price right now is dealing range sell side and previous daily low, which is below price. Oh, was that no, that's previous week's low. Sorry, that's previous week's low. So until we get to any those levels, right, there's nothing for me to do, all right. And then 10 o'clock, all right, we'll have open range, dealing range. Obviously, we'll see if we get some action based on that. There's your plausible deniability right there, ma'am. You was asking for plausible deniability. There it is. Negative 1.5, getting smashed. Let's see what else this traders offers us. Negative 2.5 is looking very enticing to me right now. Okay, so I'm seeing how price gravitate towards it and see if it wants to go lower to previous week's low. Looking real enticing right now. That was a clean setup though on the 15-second time frame. Ew, I'm liking it. I'm liking it. I just want to say that yesterday's stream was a real powerful one, okay? And if you didn't watch it, all right, if you wasn't here with us live, I really recommend watching yesterday's stream because we talked about the real struggles, all right, that we go through, not just as traders, all right, not just as traders, but as individuals that are on the path to achieve something great, something greater than ourselves, right? It's a real struggle, it's a lonely battle, and we talked a lot about, you know, some things that you can do to cope, all right, and to keep you on the right path, right, to motivate yourself, and also the real struggles that we go through, right, the real struggles that we go through, and the reason behind why I want to build a community. That is yesterday's stream was the epitome of the reason why. I don't know if I'm using that word in the correct sense of what I'm trying to say here, but it makes sense in my head to me. Was the epitome is the word I said, right? Of the reason why I want to create a community of like-minded individuals that are on the same path, on the same journey, right? We don't have to be necessarily doing the same thing in terms of trading, right? But we're on the same path to build something greater than ourselves, right? Not just for ourselves, but to impact our communities and the world as a whole. So that's my mission. It's a little bit about me and a little bit about yesterday's stream, which I think is one of the most powerful streams that I've done so far. Obviously not, I haven't done that many powerful streams, but for me anyway, I think yesterday was a really, really powerful stream. So check it out if you haven't. It's on the tube. It's over on the tube. All right, because I think Twitch will delete it in the next after 7 days. It's gone. All right, so you can catch it over on the tube. -2 getting smashed. Okay, like I said, -2.5 is real enticing. Is lining up perfectly with this liquidity here. Perfectly, to the bloody tick. All right, to the bloody tick. And you're trying to tell me that these things aren't controlled? Come off it, bruv. Come off it. Can't tell me none of that shit, dog. So, like, this week has been a 15-second week. Like, every week, each time frame, like, will stick something at me. This week has been 15 seconds for sure. Anyway, 10 o'clock is about to be upon us. Let's get opening range, dealing range up in here. Waiting for this 1 minute candle to close. I do on a 1 minute time frame because 1 minute encapsulate everything that I need to do. Because as you can see on the 15 minute, all right, it's done already on this time frame, but it doesn't include that 10 o'clock candle, and I want to include that 10 o'clock candle. Oh, wrong thing. Don't be slow on me now. All right, we go open range. Confirmed. We can go ahead and switch accounts because that one's been getting all the love this week. All right, we're taking open range sell side. All right, confirming our session buys as a sell program in line with our weekly and our daily program. Okay, so everything is in alignment for sells. You're very late, man. You're very late. You're very delayed. Everything is in line for sell. We have previous week's low below price. Where's weekly open? Weekly open is over here, so we might be having a down close week this week. It's definitely looking like a down close week so far. I don't like V shapes on 15 seconds. We just talked about that. But anyway, not that I don't like it. I haven't collected enough data to have confidence behind it. So bearish market structure shift here. Will give us a continuation sell. I want to see. Oh, just got a lot going on up here, innit? It's got a whole lot going on. Oh, but technically it won't be a V shape. It's liquidity. We took liquidity below it. Hold on, a lot of technicalities here. Bear with me. A lot happening right now. It's not a time frame I'll be engaging in right now anyway, so I have no issues with what's going on here. I'm just watching it. Based on technicalities, we did take liquidity below external liquidity, which is one of the liquidities that we pointed out. Okay, so we took liquidity below it. All right, market structure shift back above it, retracement set up. So let's watch that and see how that plays out. It does give me this show. I'll be interested. Now we do have an inefficiency all the way up here, so I would want to encapsulate that in my stop. And this is what we talked about yesterday as well, all right, in terms of framing the my exits based on where my risk is at, right? If my risk is here because I want to include this fair value gap, this inefficiency above price in here, I want to include it in my stop because it can always be a price can always come to it, right? It doesn't have to, right? But it can always come to it before going in the direction of where I want it to go. So I want my stop to encapsulate this fair value gap as well. Something I've collected data on, and I've obviously been taken out of trades because I didn't include the fair value gap that's above it. All right, and it took me out and carried on going in my direction. So it's data collection, refinement, all right, based on data collected, all right? We're refining our procedures and protocols and our processes based on the data that we're getting back from the market, right? Obviously, it has to be a number of significant in terms of the data. I can't just adjust something based on one set of data, right? It have to be something that you're seeing on a consistent basis and you're noticing in price, all right? So that's all we're doing, really. We're data collecting in here each and every day. We're collecting data, refining our procedures and protocols, right? Still would be in here, okay? Still watching this. Would have given us bread and butter already, but that's pretty much it right now. I can keep this on here and not sync it, so we can watch it on a 15-second time frame. Take this slow though, I'll be interested here in a continuation sell. That's real interesting too now, isn't it? Ooh, NFP Friday! Took liquidity below external liquidity, market structure shift back above it. I would be interested in a retracement along here if he gives it to me. Oh, there we go. Let's see how this cookie crumbles. It's a small range, small range. I'll be getting out right here. 250. Delete this. 250. Right there. Still would be in this long on the 15-second time frame there. Small range, but we take the range as they come. We take the ranges as they come. Very small range. Anyway, today we're talking wealth creation equation and formula, all right? Wealth equation, create equation and formula. We're talking about the three hows. One of the two things we need to, only two things we need to know about money, right? First is the who behind money, and next is the three hows. How do you get it, keep it, and get it to multiply? All right, that's what we're talking about today. The second thing you need to know about money, right? The three hows. How do we get it? How do we keep it? And how do we get it to multiply, right? We don't make money. We have to get to money. Money's already been made by the who behind money. It's our job once it's been made to get it. We're going to be talking about how we get it today, all right? There's two vehicles to build wealth, right? There's two vehicles to build wealth. It's a local short trade here. On the 15-second time frame setup, right? We'll be hitting -1 on that already. Let me see the contract size for that setup. It looks like there's a lot going on this chart right now. Bear with me, bro. Oh, it would have been two contracts. So, oh yeah, we'll be out at -1 right here. Just a little bit under 121. So we'll be out of the 15-second setup already. Okay, we'll be out of that 15-second setup. We're watching to see what else it offers us. It would have given us negative 1.5 there. Come back into this inefficiency here. See how price behaves in here. This could be obviously a stumbling block for our exit currently. But anyway, there's two vehicles to build wealth, right? There's two vehicles to build wealth. We have earned income and passive income, right? These are the two vehicles that we need to build wealth, all right? We all start with earned income, right? We have to earn income. We have to start with initial capital, right? As a foundation, okay? To earn, to build upon, okay? To create on our path to wealth, okay? So with earned income, right? This is income from an employment such as a job or a business. You have a job, you have a 9 to 5, or you own a business, okay? You're earning income, right? This is earned income where you're actively working for the money. You're actively engaged in the activity that brings in the money, okay? This is earned income. It's heavily taxed, all right? 40 to 50% of this is tax, right? So it's pretty much half of your money goes to Uncle Sam, all right? In this path of the in this stage of the vehicles around earned income, okay? And then we have passive income, which is the goal where we're trying to get to. This is a hindrance. This inefficiency, like I said, will be a hindrance to us getting to our target here. But it is what it is. Our job here is done. It's out of our hands, right? Nothing we can do about it, right? I like that we're respecting this now as a inversion. Body closure back below this, and we're done for here. We're done for. Let me delete this for a second because it's a small range and it's making it look like a lot going on here, and I want to see something. Market structure shift back down in here. Okay, we'll confirm a continuation sell. When we get taken out, we'll confirm a sell. I'll still be interested there in a sell if it gives it to me. Very active Friday morning, ain't it? I like that though. We were 6, 7, not even close to exit, to be honest. We weren't that close. I was like, okay, maybe we were super close, but we weren't even super close. It looks super close, but it's not. Right, we're respecting the main threshold of this inversion fair value gap here. Wicks do the damages, bodies tell the story so far. I like what the bodies are saying to me. Respecting the consequent encouragement of this inefficiency. Hands off here, all right? Hands off here. So passive income, this is the goal. This is what we want more of than earned income, right? Initially, obviously, we have to start with earned income, but we want to earn income, right, to buy passive income, right, where our money is making money from us. This is income derived from limited partnerships, all right, and rental properties, okay? So limited partnerships in terms of investing in a hedge fund, for an example, right? I'm going to always use a hedge fund as an example because that's what I'm trying to build here, okay? So I want you to be aware that, by investing in a hedge fund, you're getting the second vehicle, right, to build wealth, which is passive income, right? When you invest in a hedge fund, you are a limited partner. You're LP, right? You invest money into a hedge fund, right? The fund managers trade or invest that money in the financial markets. In terms of a hedge fund, is buying and selling public securities, so dealing with the financial markets. And when those investments make money, they come back into the limited partnerships, and then the money is distributed to LPs, all right, and it's distributed to GPs, the general partners, and LPs. So you'll be an LP in a hedge fund, right? Which you're not active. we got our terminus by doing that. You're not actively involved in the money making, okay? You're just investing money where your money is working for you, okay? Passive income is where you're not, like I just said, you're not actively engaged in an activity that brings in the money, all right? It's taxed 0 to 20%, right? It's taxed at 0 to 20%, which is half of what earned income is taxed at. So you're keeping more of your money, right? Because you're not actively engaged in the activity. But anyway, let's look at the outcome of this trade here. Negative 1.5 on the 15-second time frame. Let's put the fib back on the 1 minute and track it on the 1 minute as well. Follow it on the 1 minute. I was doing outcome. Whoa! Look at that tiny ass range though. Look at that tiny ass range. Don't judge a range by its size. All right. Don't judge a range by size, because this tiny ass range has made more than any other morning session really range has made me, really and truly, for sure. 100%. Don't judge a range by its size. Don't judge a range by its size. All right. As long as it hits the criteria of what you're looking for, pull the trigger. All right. Don't question it. Follow your procedures. Follow your protocols. Anyway, we're watching this to see what else will offer us. All right. We would have got. Yeah, I think it would have given it to us. We're looking at 90, 50. No, it wouldn't have given it to us here. We haven't got plausible deniability at negative 1.5. We haven't got it. This would be obviously regarded as a V-shape setup on the actually not a V shape, because we trade back below that liquidity here, so we got a re-entry. It's the same setup we got up on 1 minute. I'm sorry, psych. Yeah, it was the same setup on the 1 minute as well. Cool. Let's get a quick snapshot of this. I'm gonna unsync it because it's making the 15-second looks very, very muddy. Let's get a quick snapshot real quick. NFP Friday. Money and mindset Friday. Okay, definitely plausible deniability on negative 1.5. Above price right now. Okay, we have dealing range sell side as a draw on liquidity, and we have open range buy side. Depending on how price behaves at dealing range low, all right, will let me know whether open range buy side is in the cross errors. 1 second. So these are the only two vehicles we need to build wealth, right? So these are the only two vehicles we need to focus on, all right? Initially, obviously, our 90% of our focus will be on earning income, going to get that money, right? Going to get that money that's already been made, all right? We're not making it, we're getting to it, all right? We're getting it from the people that have already made it. Well, if you're in this industry, you're getting it how it's being controlled, through how it's being controlled, okay? So only two vehicles to build wealth. Let's not complicate anything. Wealth building is not a complication matter. It's not complicated. It's simple, just like trading here, right? We complicate things for ourselves. We only need two vehicles. These are the only two vehicles you need to focus on. First is earn income. Go get that money. All right? In terms of an employment or a business, okay? In terms of employment or a business. Get that money, all right? And then you want to build passive income, all right? By investing that money into rental properties, all right? I would recommend multi-family rentals, okay? Right, more doors. The more doors, the better the investment is for me in terms of building wealth. Personal preference, all right? But it doesn't have to be, multifamily, but I prefer multifamily, all right? I've done my research on multifamily. I think there's a lot of upside in multifamily, but it doesn't have to be multifamily, just rental properties, all right? And limited partnerships, right? Invest in funds. It doesn't just have to be a hedge fund. There's different types of funds, right? There's venture capital, there's real estate funds as well that you can invest in. There's hedge funds, there's what else? debt funds, people that lend money out, debt funds, they're out there. Do your research, obviously. Research the general partnerships, okay? See if what their returns are, if they jive with you and it's something that you're interested in. But become a limited partner in things, right? Because that's how you build passive income, right? Where you're not actively involved, you're just investing your money, and when whatever it is that you invest in makes money is distributed to you and is building you passive income, okay? So these are the only two things we need to build wealth, the only two vehicles we need to build wealth, all right? Earned income and passive income. Don't complicate it. That's all you need to focus on. Earned income and passive income. That's it, and that's all right? So on the road to wealth creation, right? The first step in building wealth is to create a source of income, right? Earned income, right? You need income. Without income, there is no capital to invest and build upon, okay? -2 getting smashed here. On the 15 seconds, -3 getting smashed. Like I said, next draw is dealing range sell side, okay? And then depending on how price behaves there, okay, we have open range buy side, and then we have consequent encroachment. Where is consequent encroachment of this gap? Because there's a big ass gap in it. Oh no, it's right here. It's in line with the 20-day. Well, at that point, then we're targeting dealing range buy side and these red typical highs above price here. So all depends on how price behaves at dealing range low. All right, will let me know whether it wants to continue higher, and depending on how we behave at open range buy side, okay, will let me know whether it wants to continue higher. Okay, so I let the price action tell me what it wants to do and where it wants to go based on the characteristics around the key levels. So the road to wealth creation, right? We all start on the same path. All right? We need to create income, because without income, there is no capital to invest and build upon, okay? And remember, we only need two vehicles to build wealth, all right? Earned income and passive income. Those are the only two vehicles that we need to be worrying about, all right? You jump on one vehicle, right? Now, how do we get to the next vehicle that buys us freedom, right? If you didn't follow me on this app, follow me on this app. I like my fry, yeah. Look at how price behaves in this inversion fair value gap here. I want to see the body stay in the upper portion of it. I don't want to see a closure below consequent encroachment of that inefficiency to support the idea that price will continue going higher into potentially open range buy side. All right, the wealth equation. The wealth equation. Yeah, closure below that. All right, potentially price will want to continue lower into sell side down in here into previous week's low. We do have our first presenter fair value gap on a 15-minute time frame, which could support price lower. But both time frames did what they were supposed to do, right? Here would be at break even, a little bit better than break even here. And here would be at 50% of the range in terms of stop wise. 1, 2, 3 partials, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 partials on the 15 seconds. In terms of our contracts, right, they would have done what they needed to do. They've done what they did. Well, now we're back below this inefficiency, all right? So now it becomes a SIBI again, or reclaimed inefficiencies. Have been reclaimed? Is that when he explains it? Ding, ding. Interesting, that, ain't it? The wealth equation. Talking like I got a lisp. Lisp. Talking like I got a lisp. Talking like I got a lisp. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Bear with me, guys. Alright, so this is the equation. This is the equation, and then we'll get into the formula, alright? And then obviously the right data that we need to import into that formula, right? To get to the destination of where we actually want to get to, which is wealth creation, which is freedom, right? Buying ourselves time. And yeah, that's our destination, right? So we have gross income and we have net income, right? And this is the equation for both of these things, right? So we trade our time, right? We trade our time, our most valuable commodity, all right? Our most valuable commodity. We trade our time, right? We're going to work, either a 9 to 5 hour business, all right? We trade it to work, right? To make an income, right? Gross income, earned income, to get our earned income, vehicle one. We're talking about vehicle one here, okay? So time times work equals gross income. This is your earned income, okay? Gross income is the total earnings before any deductions. This is the money you have to work with initially, okay? Because remember, without earned income, without capital, there's nothing to build upon, okay? It's a foundation for wealth creation, all right? You need to earn income, okay? And then how this is calculated is your total earnings based on the amount of time you invest and the effort you put in. So based on your business, based on your job, right? Based on whatever your position is worth, what the company feels that your job title or what you're doing is worth to them, all right? It's obviously how you're getting paid. And if you're in a business, it's based on, you know, how your business is doing, right? Based on the value that your customers perceive you as, what you charge for your business, what you're making, that's your earned income, okay? So from earned income, gross income, right? From time times work equals gross income, which is your earned income. From gross income, right, you minus your taxes and expenses, all right, this will equate to your net income, all right? We're still on earned income, right? This is still vehicle one, the first vehicle to build wealth, okay? I want to see this do its original job, right, which is keep price lower, act as a civvy, all right? That's what I want to see right now since we're below it. So let's see. Still would be in on this up here, right, with our stop at 0.5 and 15 second. Oh, I think 15 seconds potentially would have come and taken us out, you know, at break even. Yeah, definitely would have come and taken us out there. 15 seconds would have come and taken us out at break even there. On this candlestick right here would have taken us out. But for the 1 minute, we still would be in there. 5 partials and then coming out at break even. No risk in this trade. Chef's kiss, we like that. I'm not gonna complain about that. I won't complain about that. That's a solid trade in my books. Alright, 1 minute we still would be in there, right? In terms of where our stop would be adjusted to. For now, anyway. First hour of trading is behind us. Anyway, so gross income minus taxes and expenses equals your net income, right? This is what you have left over for investments. Anyway, let's get into it. Taxes and expenses, deductions. These are deductions from your gross income, including government taxes and personal living expenses like your rent, your mortgage, your healthcare, your telephone, your transportation costs, your food, everything that you need to maintain your lifestyle or your life, okay? These are your expenses, okay? Net income is the amount left after taxes and expenses are deducted from it, which is available for investments, okay? So this is the equation for earned income, okay? All right. Time times work equals gross income minus taxes and expenses equals net income. Net income is what we have left over for investments, okay? So you need to be tracking this. This is imperative. Your net income is the most important income for you to track and be aware of, okay? Because this is what you have left over for investments. And we all invest, we all make investments in terms of our money, time, and energy and effort. We all make investments, but it's about what we invest in. That's where the path diverts, okay? Now we're going to get into the formula, all right? The formula for wealth creation right now, okay? So this is, we're still in step 1, right? And then we get into step 2, passive income. That's where we really start to build wealth, all right? I want to see if we close back above it. As you can see, we respected the lower inversion fair value gap here. All right, let it do your thing. Oh, I brought this apple to Yamon. Then I started talking about money and forgot everything. You know, when it comes to money talks, ooh. I feel rejuvenated when I talk about money. I feel alive. I feel, like pumped, Whenever we talk money, I just be excited, I just, all problems go away. But don't go away, but it just, the possibilities, right? It makes all stress for me at least go away in the time being. So we understand the equation. Let's get to the formula, all right? And then how we import the correct data into that formula, all right, to achieve our goals, right? So here is the wealth formula. So that net income, right? The most important income for us to track and be aware of, right? That net income, because that's what we have left over for investments. And what we invest in is where the path to wealth diverts for many people. All right, that is where we separate. This is where we go our separate ways, right? And we're gonna first talk about how the 99% approach their net income and what they do with it, their investments, and then we'll talk about the 1% and what they do with their net income and how they approach their investments. Okay, so in order to join that 1% club, as always, right, we need to be aware and know what they're doing with their money. All right, so we can do the same thing. So we can obviously be part of that club, right? That 1% club, right? 10% to 1% club. That's the name of us here. That's our goal here, right? Keep it in the forefront of your mind, right? Once we join that 10%, once we master the skill and join that 10%, okay, the goal is to fast track your way to that 1% club, right? And I think trading in the financial markets, it's the fastest way to get to that 1% club, right? Because once you join that 10%, you're only 10 away from that 1%, right? You're closer to that 1%. Once you're in part of that 10% club, you're closer to the 1%, and it's easier to get there from the 10% club than it is from the 90% club, right? From 90 to 1%, you're this much away. But once you join the 10% club, let's bring it into the camera a little bit. You're right here, right? That's your next step, right? It's easier, it's quicker, it's faster to get to that 1% club, okay? But yeah, we must know what they do with their money, how they look at money, how they approach money, their mindset on money, okay? And let's get into it. So the 99% approach, right? Where they're trading their time for money, they're constantly trading their time for money, their net income, because they're not using their net income how they need to be or should be using their net income. It's good to know what the 99% approach, what the 99% does and do, all right? So you know what to avoid and what not to do, all right? Because this could be something that you're currently doing that you're not aware of, okay? I'm going to make you aware of it today, all right? If you're doing these things, you are in the 99% club, and our goal here is to get to that 1% club. So you need to be aware of what they're doing with their money, okay? So the 99 approach, right? Spending, right? Majority use their net income, right, after taxes and expenses have been deducted from their gross income. Remember, we have net income left over. They use this net income primarily for lifestyle and entertainment. They go out, they buy things, they buy luxurious things, they go out, they buy bottles, they just buy things, they just spend on lifestyle and entertainment to, I don't know, to prove something to people that don't give a damn about them anyway. That's the world we live in now. We get our money and we just want to buy things to show on social media so people can feel like they don't give a fuck. Like, you buy a nice luxurious car, right? Once people see it for the first time, the novelty English, it wears away. What's the word I'm looking for here? What is the word? Mom's the word. It wears away. I don't know. It sounds weird, but I think it is what the word I'm looking for. Right? It goes away, right? The novelty goes away. Like, nobody cares about it anymore. Once they've seen it, like, well, every time they're gonna see him be so excited. No, like, nobody cares, right? Doesn't matter. But anyway, they use their net income primarily on lifestyle and entertainment. The consequence of this is that this often leads to additional expenses, right? You buy a new car, now you got more shit to pay for, right? You go outside and blow your money on drinks and whatever you do outside, then you have to go back to your 9 to 5. You have no money left over, right? And work again to continue to work, and use that money to continue to pay for your lifestyle and entertainment. It's insane. It's insanity. All right. This leads to additional expenses and the need to continuously trade time for money. Right. Our goal here is to trade time for money, then the money to more money. Okay. Time for money, then the money for more money. Okay. Get that money working for us. Okay. This leads to a cycle of without investment, they remain in a cycle of working to maintain their lifestyle without substantial growth, right? This is when people say they take 2 steps forward, right, and 10 steps back. It's because they're doing these things, right, where it's just you get ahead, but then you're right back because you're not doing what you need to do with that net income. Okay, this is what the 99% do with their money. Okay, so be aware of this. If you're doing this, stop it, cut it out. Okay, this is the path that you need to be on. Okay, we're going to talk about how the 1% approach their net income and what they do with it. Okay, so first they allocate their net income towards investments. Okay, even though it doesn't say investments on the 99 approach, this is still an investment, right? You're investing your money, your time into a lifestyle and entertainment. You're still investing, right? We all invest, right? It's just about what we invest in. Okay, now the 1% club, they allocate that net income towards investment, and this is the sequence in which they invest, right? The sequence in which they invest. First, they invest in themselves, right? Invest in yourself. This is the only investment that will never ever fail you. Every other investment has the potential to fail you, but this is the investment, the only investment that will never fail you is the investment you make in yourself. All right. Attain a skill, enhance your knowledge, and enhance what you know. All right. Just build you up, invest in yourself. Okay, because once you know more, right, knowledge is power. Knowledge acted upon, okay, also equates to more income. Okay, so think about that, right? So once you invest in yourself, right, and you build a skill set that's making you money, right, then you invest in your business. Invest in the business. You are the business, by the way. Okay, so invest in yourself, you invested in your business, but now you can actually build an entity, right, around that skill set that you invested in and that you built in the first investment, the only investment that will never fail you. Okay, so then you invest in your business, right? The skill set that you gained, build a business around it, right? Continue to invest in that business until that business is making surplus net income, right? The same equation for that business that comes for you goes for that business as well. Okay, so the same way you approach investing, you approach it in yourself and in your business as well. So once that business is making additional money, then you invest in income producing assets. It needs to say income producing assets, not just assets. Let me fix that. Then you need to invest in income producing assets. Okay, this is assets that produce income, right? They generate income. They're not just assets to just sit on their ass and look pretty. All right, they're income producing assets such as rental properties, all right, or limited partnerships. They obviously have stocks, bonds, and whatever, all the other stuff, but I'm not really a big fan of those things, and those are not things that I'm going to be doing on my path to building wealth. All right, if you want to do that, do your research and go ahead and do that, but for me personally, they're not something that interests me in terms of on my path to build wealth. Okay, so by doing this, right, you create passive income by investing in income producing assets, right? Investments lead to passive income streams that generate money with minimal active effort, where the money is then making money for you. All right, and you're in that wheel where money is working as hard as you did to make it, right? This leads to achieving freedom, right? Passive incomes buys time, leading to financial freedom and the ultimate goal of wealth creation, right? We're not creating wealth just to create wealth. We're creating wealth to buy us back our most valuable commodity, which is our time, right? Which is our time. We don't have a lot of time on this spinning rock, okay? And you don't want to spend all your time on a spinning rock working to make money to afford your lifestyle and your entertainment purposes, right? The goal here is to work to make money, then take that money and get that money making more money for you, okay? It's a cycle. You trade your time to get money, then you take that money, right, minus that net income, right, after your taxes and expenses are deducted from that money. Use that money, right, to make investments, right, first in yourself, in your business, and then into income producing assets that buys you passive income, right? Get that money working for you, okay? And that's the ultimate goal of wealth creation here. That's what we're here for. This is what the 1% are doing, okay? This is how we join the 1% club. After we join the 10% club, this is what we need to do, right, to join the 1% club. All right, this is what we need to do. Take the money that we're earning here, deduct our expenses and taxes from it, okay, and use that net income. Keep investing in ourselves, right? How can we scale what we're doing here in the market? How can you scale your trading business? Invest in yourself, gain the knowledge, gain the skill set so you can scale, right? Then invest into your business, right? And we talked about this last week, the greatest wealth building tool of all time, right? That trading business entity, right? S corp, paying yourself, right? Allocating 25% of your income into a tax-free account, retirement account, all right? So you're being taxed at a lower rate than somebody that's working a 9 to 5, earning the same amount of money as you're paying yourself, okay? That's where we get to keep more of our money. We talked about deductions. In terms of once you establish an entity and you employ yourself as a trader under that entity, right? Everything that regards you that you do, right? All your expenses become a tax write-off. Majority of your I won't say all, majority of your expenses become a tax write-off, right? That's how you get to keep more of your money, okay? And then more left over, meaning you have more net income to invest, okay? So this is what the 1% are doing, right? This is the formula. This is the formula you need to know and understand. Know and understand this formula, right? And then you want to input the correct data into this formula, right? By inputting the correct data, I mean like first you invest in yourself, right? You have to invest in yourself and then your business. You don't do it the other way around. You don't start making a little bit of money and then start investing in income producing asset. That's not how it works. It doesn't know how it works. You're gonna be like, you don't have 500 bucks sitting around and think, yes, I'm gonna go invest in a hedge fund and it's gonna double in the next two months. That's not how it goes. That's not how it operates, okay? This is the sequence in which you need to invest in, all right? This is the order in which you need to invest in, right? This is the correct data that you need to import into this formula, right? So you can get to the destination, right? Which is the ultimate financial freedom, buying back your time, which is the ultimate goal of wealth creation, right? All right, these are the 4 steps. These are the 4 steps, right, we need to take to create wealth. These are the 4 steps. Remember, we only need 2 vehicles to build wealth, right? Earned income and passive income. Once you have those 2, these are the 4 steps that you need to take, all right, to start creating wealth, all right, on your journey to start building wealth for you and your family for generations to come. And we're talking about indestructible kind of wealth here. We're not talking wealth that lasts for like 2 generations and then it depletes. We're talking indestructible wealth here, like generation after generation after generation is just growing and growing. It's something that's indestructible, all right? Look up the definition of indestructible. Something that is unbreakable. You can't break it. You can't diminish it. It's just, it's going to outlive you, right? It's going to outlive you. That's the kind of wealth that we're talking about here, okay? Coming on to 1050 macro. So far, not much happening here. $10.50 Micro popping off. We have time, right? Waiting for time and price to align. We have time, but no price right now. We still would be in here, right? On the 1 minute setup, but obviously we talked about 15 seconds coming to take us out, a break even. One minute, okay? Bear with me. Let me finish my apple. 4 steps to create wealth, right? First step, we've talked about this enough times, all right, is the most important. First is the most important step, okay? Everything we do here is on a step-by-step process, right? Step-by-step procedures and protocols, right? Step 1, do this. Step 2, do that. Step 3, because that's how my brain operates. That's what I found out about myself through being engaged in the financial markets, right? That's how I best operate. I need to know what I'm doing step 1, what's the next step, what's after that, what's the next step, and then have procedures and protocols in place at each step, right? That doesn't bring in any emotions, all right? Thinking logically, okay? Like IPTA, all right? All right, so step 1 is create income, right? Because without that income, there is no initial capital. There's no foundation to build upon. Okay, there's nothing to use to invest in yourself, right? It's to create income, and that's you can create income in multiple ways, right? You can get a 9 to 5, you can start a business, or you can just offer up whatever skill set that you have currently, right? You can do freelance work, all right? You can just look around you, find ways to create income. You can sell things that you currently have, all right? Just step 1, just create that income, whatever you can do to create income. In legal perspective, right? Legal side, we're talking all legal things here, okay? And by the way, I don't think I disclaimed you guys, but anything that I'm talking about here is for education and entertainment purposes only, okay? I'm not a tax professional, I'm not a financial advisor, okay? So whatever I'm giving you here is just information for you to go and ask the professionals, okay? These are things that I'm doing. This is how I'm looking at my wealth creation journey. This is what I'm doing on my path, and I'm just sharing that information, sharing that knowledge. Okay, but it's up to you, right, to go ahead and then do your own research and then verify with the professionals, okay, that do these things. All right, we all disclaimed here, okay? Yeah, cool. Because you can't go and say, oh, Alice told me to do this. Them people there at I'm the Trader Capital told me to do this. We didn't tell you nothing. We're just providing you information, right? We're just providing you information, right? And if it makes sense, right, talk to the professionals about it, right? Ask them, right? Trust but verify. Trust but verify. And then step 2, once you create income, right? Step 2, you want to increase that income, right? Step 2 is important because we're trying to get as much net income left over as possible for investments as much as we can, okay? So once you create income, your next job, right, is to increase that income. Now, you can do that in multiple ways, right? You can either increase income within where you're currently working right now, right? Look for ways or other services that you can provide that company, right, that will lead to an increase in your income within that. If you have a 9 to 5, I always recommend starting in that 9 to 5, increasing your income in that 9 to 5 before stepping outside your 9 to 5. Look for ways to make more money at your 9 to 5, right? Is there something that the company is currently lacking that you can provide for them, what that will lead to an increase in your income? Can you learn a skill or like get a more certification to get a promotion to increase your income at that job that you're currently doing, right? So next step is increase income, right? Obviously, if it's not, you can't do it, and if you're capped out at your 9 to 5, then look outside your 9 to 5 and look for like freelance work. Is there skills that you have that you can do on the side, a side hustle, right? On top of your 9 to 5, something else that you can do on the side on the weekends, right? That will help you increase your income. Okay, that's the next step, increase that income. Now, when you increase that income, it doesn't mean go out and spend more money, right? It doesn't mean go out and spend more money, right? Once the income is being increased, you need to think about step 3. How can I keep more of my income? How can I keep more of my money? Remember, gross income minus taxes and expenses equals your net income. Our goal here is to make that net income as fat as possible. In an equation, the only things coming out of our gross income is taxes and expenses. So now how can we limit our taxes and expenses, right, to keep more income, have more net income left over? In terms of we're breaking down the formula now. We're breaking down the formula, right? We're breaking it down. We're breaking down the equation and the formula. We're breaking down the equation, right? And trying to work out how we can use the formula in our benefit, right? How we can input the correct data into that formula, right? Things that we can extract, right, from the equation to build that formula, okay? All right. So next step is to keep more of your income, right? In order to do that, we have to not eliminate, but minimize, reduce, right, our taxes and expenses, right? And here, what you can do is basically just trim the fat when it comes to expenses, right? Trim the fat off of things that you're currently paying for, right? Do an expense check, right? Do an expense check. Like what's coming out? What are you paying for every month, right? And how can you trim the fat? How can you take away certain things that you're currently paying for that you don't really need to be paying for? How can you stop paying for those things so you can have more money left over for investments, right? Keep more income. That's with expenses, right? Trim the fat where you can trim the fat. And then when it comes to your taxes, right? How can you pay legally? Sorry. How can you pay legally less taxes, all right? And we talked about this last week in terms of through an entity, right? A business through an entity, hiring yourself under that business, taking the S corp structure on that business, all right? And everything that you do becomes a tax write-off. Not everything, majority of things, right? Become a majority of your expenses, all right? Become a tax write-off, all right? So even though you're paying for those things, right? At the end of the year, you get to write it off, right? In terms of your taxes, so you're reducing that tax bill. And also through a business entity, right, you're allowed to take 25% of your income, right, your salary, and put into a tax-free retirement account, right? So you're already being taxed at a lower rate, right, than somebody that's working a 9 to 5. You're reducing that tax bill, all right? So you're keeping more of your income, right? You're keeping more of your income, right? To do that, reduce your taxes and reduce your expenses, okay? Now, once you have that, once you have more net income left over, right, then you want to invest, right? Now, the sequence in which you want to start investing is first you want to invest in yourself, all right? Continue to gain your knowledge and skills. I think negative on the 1 minute would be potentially being getting taken out of this here. I think it's what, 90. Yeah, it'll be smashing us out here for sure. I bet where we reduce our risk to. But yeah, so first you want to invest yourself, right? Invest in yourself, right? Build your skill set, gain more knowledge, all right? Enhance your skills, enhance your knowledge, all right? So you can provide more services, all right, which will bring you more income, right? Invest in yourself, right? This is a cycle. We're doing these 4 steps over and over and over again, right? We're creating income, we're increasing income, we're keeping income, and then we're investing. We're creating income, we're increasing income, we're keeping more of that income, and we're investing. It's a cycle, right? It's a cycle. So first you invest in yourself, right? Then you invest in your business. Once you gain the knowledge that you need to gain, right? You invest into your business, all right? That can include your, like, invest in your business in terms of marketing, hiring more people, all right? Doing more things in terms of your business, right? Now, when that business starts to generate more money, right? And its net income is becoming fat, right? Then you start investing in income producing assets. Now it has not just, you don't just invest in assets, right? Just to invest in assets. We're investing in income producing assets, right? Assets that are generating income, assets that has the potential to generate income, okay? And bring you more money, right? And that's how you start to create that wealth wheel, and you start to really build, be on a path to build wealth for you, for your family, for your communities, for your country, for your nation, for the world as a whole, okay? And yeah, that's the 4 steps to create wealth, and these are the only 4 steps that we need to be considering ourselves with, all right? We need to know the 2 vehicles to build wealth, and we need to know the 4 steps to build wealth, and that's pretty much all the things you need to know for your wealth creation journey, all right? We need to know the formula. We know the equation, right? We need to know and understand the formula and what, in terms of what we're doing here. This is all part of the formula, by the way, okay? It's all part of the formula. And we're inputting the right information, the right data, right, into that formula, right? Meaning we're always going to get to our destination, right? We just need to keep showing up and doing what we need to do. Eventually we'll get to our destination, right? Eventually we'll get to our destination. So today, just to sum it up today, right? Today we went over the wealth creation equation and formula, right? The main topic today was about one of the 2 things that we need to know about money, all right? Which was the 3 hows: how to get it, how to keep it, and how to get it to multiply, okay? This is how we do that, right? Through everything that we just talked about today, okay? So this is one of the two things we need to know about money, right? The three hows. The other thing, the first thing is the who behind money, right? And then today we talked about the second thing we need to know about money, which is the three hows, how to get it, keep it, and get it to multiply, okay? Which is our goal here, number one goal here, right? 10% to 1% club. It's Friday. It's NFP Friday. It's Money and Mindset Friday. It's TGIF. TGIF. All right. Appreciate you tuning in. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place. We'll catch you on the flip side. We'll be getting out of here soon, all right? Coming close to the end of our session here. We'll be out of both trades, both time frame trades now, okay? We're back at opening range, sell side. Okay, we have time. Let's see what this price has in store for us. No longer concerned about that. We have this low. We will still would be in that 15-second sell initially, right? From 9:30. We still would be in there. Okay, -1, -1.5, -2. All right, so our stop would be at 50% of this range, so our stop would be here. So we still would be in the sell, okay? Obviously, bearing we had more contracts to spare, still would be in that initial sell. Remember, my real draw was 2.5, which was in line with this sell side here. So that sell will still be in effect, right? Which we're looking to be seller of this market, right? Because that's what our session condition is, that's what our daily condition is, that's what our weekly condition is. Sell program. This computer isn't gonna need to sleep this weekend, boy. I didn't like shut it down from last weekend. So hold on. Came back into inefficiency. Bearish market structure shift back below. That would confirm a sell. $11.11. Last trade for us here. Framing the exits on the risk based on where my risk is at. So we're looking at 1, 11. $10.50, trade below external liquidity, come back into an inefficiency. All right, market structure shift back below it. All right, continuation sell setup right there. And I'm framing my risk. Well, framing the exits based on where my risk is at. Because usually it would be at this high. Right here. But I think it's only right to frame the exits based on where the risk is at. As long as we don't take this buy side here, we're okay in our setup. All right, hitting that drawn liquidity for me, also hitting negative 2.5. Negative 2.5 on the initial sell on the 15 seconds at 9:30. Where that 2.5 was in perfect alignment with this sell side here. Yeah, I need to know how I'm gonna do these things. I need to collect more data, right, to back myself up, be more confident in holding these based on my risk parameters, right? So -1 will be getting hit based on the range, right? But based on where we're framing the risk, we still would be waiting. Yesterday I based it on the range, and today I'm basing it on the risk. I need something uniform. I don't like doing different things for when I'm doing different things in trades, right? I don't want to be second guessing, hey, should I be doing this, should I be doing that? I want one uniform thing for each and every trade, and I'm not switching up every trade, you know. I don't like to be switching up each and every trade. I want to keep it all the same, right? So there's no thinking involved. It's just logic. I know what I'm doing, right now because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm very wary of this trade right now, right? I'm very like indecisive and, you know, should I just continue what I was doing yesterday for the week, right? What I've been doing for the week. We have previous week's low as a draw on liquidity. Oh, we're coming up to 20-day equilibrium. Obviously, 20 days adjusting. We have previous week's low as a draw on liquidity below price, but obviously price don't need to get there today. It doesn't need to get there right now. Maybe potentially I can take one off here. I can take one off here. A negative one. Let me buy back one. Just because I'm not really like, I'm not set on my management on this trade here. So, oh, I just deleted something, didn't I? For now, I don't like this. I don't like this at all, but it is what it is. We'll leave it as it is. We've taken something off and then I moved it to the invalidation point. What's the high of this? Um, 750. So let's get 750. Now after today, this will no longer be an issue, okay? Because this weekend I'm gonna make it my sole mission to figure out what I'm gonna do in this scenario here, okay? So I'm not having to do what I'm doing right now. You know, I don't. This is what I don't like. This is what brings emotions and fear and greed into trading. When you don't have precision protocols in place, and I don't want no parts of that. I mean, I want it. Taking one off and reduce the risk here, so whatever it does now, it does it. And we feel no type of way about it. NFP fry, yeah. good end to the week. Good end to the week. It got a little bit rocky and rough in the middle of the week when we stepped into Wild Wild West. But I'm gonna go back and see if that's like beginning of Wild Wild West. Take a chill pill. Take a chill pill. Wednesday afternoon on these weeks. I don't know. I have to keep an eye on it and collect more data on it. It could just be an anomaly, all right? Could have just been a Wednesday thing, but something that I need to be aware of. Normally. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, so I think moving forward, I should just leave it at, where I'm framing the risk. That's where I'm basing my exits on. Okay, and just leave it at that. And collect more data. And obviously, if the data suggests otherwise, then we will adjust it. But for now, the two set of data that I've collected so far, all right, it was fine just basing it on where the risk was at. Let's see the outcome of that trade. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Solid morning here. Solid morning here. Solid morning here. A great end to great start of the week to a bumpy middle of the week. All right. But overall, very very good week for us here on the Trader Capital. Still learning. Still. Oh, let me close this before I forget. And let's grab a quick snapshot of this. Quick collect. It's gonna look off in terms of the exits, but that's okay. Targeting previous week's low. All right, let's draw on liquidity right now. So let's do a trade performance review here. All right, what I did well today, right, is that I showed up, right? I got 1% better. Gained experience, learned lessons that I'll take into my next trading day, next trading session. Just checking the mic is on. It's a real fear, man. It's a real fear. Um, if somebody asks me what's my biggest fear right now, is making sure that my mic is on when I'm on live. That a new fear unlocked right there, for real, 100%. Um, but yeah, showed up today, and the trader showed up today. She did her job. She let the analyst lead, all right, and she didn't feel no type of way about it. She did my job, right. Very happy and pleased with my performance today. Very happy with my overall performance this week. All right, not letting outside factors influence what I'm looking for here, and just understanding that yes, I'm gonna have bad days, but as long as I'm not stuck in those bad days for a long period of time, right, and I just keep showing up and doing what I need to do, eventually I'll get to my destination, right. So I'm very happy and pleased with myself today, my performance. Yeah, waited patiently for my model to present itself. It did, and I had no feelings towards it, right. Regardless of the ranges, both trades have been very small ranges, right. Regardless of the ranges, I didn't care. Meet the criteria, so I engaged, and the outcome was out of my hands. It just happened that today we had two positive outcomes, so we'll take it, right. Any other day, I'll do the same thing, and the outcomes will be negative, right. I'm learning, right, to keep this at work, right? Keep work at work and not bring work home with me, right? It's very difficult as traders. I don't know if I know other people that have been in this industry long enough know what I'm talking about here, but like it's tough for us to take what happens in here and not let it affect what we got going on. It's a constant battle every day. But anyway, what I fell short today, I woke up at a decent hour, got my morning routine in, all right, arrived at the chart and did what I needed to do, did my job today, and yeah, I don't think I fell short anywhere, really and truly. We talked money today. Every time we talk money, I'm excited. I got energy. So it is what it is. It was a much better day. I feel much better than I did yesterday. All right. Those phases will come. More days like that will come, right? As I'm on this journey, on this path, in doing what I'm doing, achieving greatness, trying to achieve greatness, do something bigger than myself, right? I'm gonna have more days like that, okay? But it's my purpose, right, to be open and upfront and obviously just share what we go through, right? Because I'm not the only one going through it, and I know it, so I'm just sharing it so people like feel like understand that they're not the only ones going through this, and you don't have to go through it alone, okay? We're all in this together, and we can help each other, right? We can give each other 100% when the other person is at 50 or they're at 20. We can a community really and truly of like-minded individuals, not doing the same thing specifically, but on the same path, on the same journey to achieve something greater than themselves. So I just went on a tangent, but all in all, just to say I don't feel like I fell short anywhere today, okay? How I can improve for next day, next trading session is just keep showing up, right? Keep seeking excellence in everything that I do. Don't let short-term adversity, losses, series of losses deter me, distract me for what I got going on, right? Keep analyzing data, keep analyzing the data, collect the data, analyze the data, extract the information that we need to extract from the information from the data, and refine. All right, refine. If we need to, if we don't need to, we don't need to, right? If we're at a point where there's nothing to be refined, then we don't need to refine, right? Just collect the data and analyze the data. Keep taking small steps in the right direction, all right? And eventually we'll get to our destination. We don't need to get to our destination today. We don't need to be at our destination tomorrow. We don't need to be at our destination next week, next month, next year, all right? Just small steps, small bites of the apple. Eventually, right, you're going to find yourself at the destination that you've been longing for, right? And it will be an amalgamation of 1% by every day, small steps every day in the right direction, okay? Don't try to rush anything. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much how we can improve for next day. Also, if you're having a bad day, right, like I had yesterday with the dark cloud over UA, you're just not feeling your best, you're not feeling 100%, it's okay, right? There's nothing wrong with it, right? Sit in it for a minute and then understand that with small steps, right, just keep showing up and keep doing what you need to do. Eventually we'll get to our destination, right? We'll get to our destination. Don't let that dark cloud stay and hover over you for a long period of time, right? Do something outside of trading that brings you happiness, that brings you joy, all right? Stay out of the market for a little bit, and then when you feel up to it, right, you feel like yes, you get back in your groove, then get back on board, right? Understand that we have a mission here, we have a target, we have a goals to achieve, okay? And we're not going to achieve those goals being stuck in that dark cloud, all right? That dark cloud is just holding us back, but it's okay. There's nothing wrong with those days. There's nothing wrong with having a bad season, a bad day, a bad couple of days, all right? Bad, few days, right? You're going to have bad seasons, but don't let the bad seasons deter you from what you got going on, all right? Don't let short-term adversity deter you from what you got going on, all right? You get me? All right. Our job here is to overcome adversity. Each and every day that we're living and we're breathing, our job here is to overcome adversity, right? Overcome the adversity, get to the other side, right? And with God by your side, all things are possible, okay? Remember that. That's the most important thing, all right? It wasn't until I started building a relationship with God that these markets, these candlesticks became clearer to me, and that's my testimony for sure. I'm not gonna doubt it. It wasn't until I started to see what I needed to see in these candlesticks, in these charts. So if you currently don't have a relationship with him, that's okay. All right, he's there for you. He's waiting for you to draw closer to him. All right, seek him out, and he's always gonna be there for you. Right? You have to seek him out though. Right? He's not coming to find you. You have to seek him. So, yeah, just work on your spirituality, build a relationship with God, and everything else is secondary. Really and truly, everything will just align, will fall into place once you build that connection, build that relationship with him. He will show you the way. He will show you the path. He will lay it right out in front of you, right? Anyway, let me know. Get into preaching. Then I'll start preaching. Anyway, let's see what our schedule is looking like for next week. All right. Monday and Tuesday, no news here on Econo Day. All right, but obviously we'll see what Forex fact. I'm getting them mixed up in it. Monday and Tuesday, no news here so far on Forex Factory. All right, but we'll see what Econo Day is saying on Monday, because remember, we only get Econo Day on the week of. All right, this is Forex Factory is what we use for the look ahead, right? It's our secondary economic calendar that gives us a look ahead of next week and the following weeks and what's coming. Okay, we got CPI on Wednesday, PPI on Thursday, and we have medium impact news on Friday. So we have the latter part of the week. We're active, we're alive, we're going to be here. It's optimal days for us to take a trade. But Monday and Tuesday, okay, nothing yet for now, but we'll see what Econo Day is saying next week. And this is our tentative schedule going into next week. All right, so the economic calendar determines when I take a trade. Okay, the first thing I look at each and every time I'm in front of the charts. All right, do we have medium to high impact news today? Yes. Okay, we can proceed to our trading process. All right, if we don't have medium to high impact news, it's not an optimal day for me to take a trade here. Obviously, we can still collect data and tape read the day, but for me personally, I won't be taking it. I'll have an account maybe future down the line that takes trades on newsless days, but for now, all right, I'm being strict. I'm on a strict program where I need to see medium to high impact news on the day for me to take a trade. Okay, so this is our tentative schedule for next week. All right, we're closing up another great week here in the markets, learning, growing, get 1% better. This week has really been dedicated to the 15-second time frame because it popped at me. It's just like, whoa, yeah, you've been there this whole time? Yes, I've been there this whole time, baby girl. You just wasn't paying attention. But now I am. I know what I need to look for on the 15-second time frame. Not just to use it as a supporting actress and actor, but now it can play its main role. Now it's audition. It's done enough auditioning now that it could potentially have its own main role, right? And I'm gonna backtest to this weekend, right? I'm gonna see, depending on my backtesting this weekend and how I feel about it, maybe we'll go into next week taking those trades. But it's all depends on how my backtesting session go this weekend. Okay. Always be backtesting. Doesn't matter where you are, what level you are in your trading. Always be backtesting. Always collect data. Always analyze the data that the markets is giving back to you. Okay, that's what will sharpen your edge. Remember, we're fighting titans every day. The titans of this world. We're in here battling them every day. So you need to sharpen your weapon. All right, you need to sharpen your edge each and every day, each and every week. All right, don't think because you're potentially on a winning streak that you're done. You mastered this battlefield. No. This battlefield is ever changing, is ever evolving, so we need to be the same, right? My draw right now is previous week's low on price, okay? So we're seeing how price gravitates towards previous week's low right now, and then where it wants to go to after that will depend on how price behaves around previous week's low, okay? But yeah, another amazing week for us here on the Trader Capital. Yeah, I'm happy. It started off good. Middle was a bit and then it ended good. So we'll take it for what it is, right? It is what it is. And yeah, I'm just gonna have those weeks, and nothing we can do about that. Just have to manage ourselves, manage our emotions, control ourselves, and that's pretty much all I can do. Every day I wake up is me versus me. I'm not looking outwards for anything, for any validation, anybody's whatever they got going on. I don't really care. All my focus is what I got going on, and I need my energy to fight myself, right? Because I'm my worst enemy. So I can't waste any of my energy on outside factors, outside influences. It's crazy. I'm trying to waffle on until we see previous weeks low get hit, um, just so I can kind of get a picture of, okay, we took this and what was below price, and how did price gravitate work its way towards that drawn liquidity there. Okay, so yeah, I'm getting a real grasp of price and draws on liquidity, which is the main factor. Once you know where potential price is heading, the entry is the easiest part. All right, the entry is the easiest part. It's about knowing where the price could be essentially drawing to. All right, but anyway, let's wrap up. Let's wrap up another amazing week here at the Trader Capital. We'll see you guys next week. We already know what our tentative schedule is looking like. So let's wrap this bitch up in a bow. Let's wrap this bitch up. Let's wrap it up. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with this. I would finish it and still feel lost. Even on days I made money, I didn't really know why it worked. And on losing days, I had no system to fall back on. That's the difference between guessing and having a real edge. And here's the truth. Most traders only focus on entries, but consistency comes from the system behind the entry. So if you've been watching and thinking this makes sense, but I don't have the full system yet, that's exactly why I created the 10% to 1% club. That's where we go deeper into all three pillars: the full model, the risk management system, the money and mindset principles needed to join the 1% club, and the exact process to follow daily. If you're serious about becoming consistent, that is your next step. I used to think the goal was to win more trades, but the real goal is to become the type of trader who can perform no matter the outcome. Because once you have that, the results will follow. That's all for today, folks. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you in the next AM session, kicking off at 9:15 a.m. Kickoff once again at 9:15 a.m. To be on time is to be late, okay? So make sure you show up early. As always, I'm the trader here, signing out. Good luck, good trading, happy bloody hunting. Remember, you only fail when you quit.